Another day, another frame. Today we're taking a look at the Puda Vert 230 frame. If you are familiar with the Hyperlow series, this might look a little bit like their Vert Racer. Puda started making frames not too long ago. In fact, this is the first Puda frame that I have reviewed on my channel. It's kind of cool. It comes in this nice all done plastic bag. It has a little hook up here so it's ready, to be hung in a store up on a shelf. So let me get this thing torn open and we'll start taking a look at the pieces inside. So here are all the pieces laid out. And the unique thing about this frame are these ultra skinny arms. These arms are super skinny and they're not real thick here, but what the designer has in mind is that you take this extra piece and lay it underneath the arm like this, and then you mount your motor just like you would any other motor, and you have a single bolt that holds the end together, and then these two go up and sandwich between the frames. Now you can use the extra little spacers here if you need a little bit more building room inside, which you may need. Also, there are 3D printable pieces you can put up on top and on the bottom that will make it essentially a soft mount arm, which would be extremely nice. I'll put some links to those down in the description. They're out on Thingiverse, also made by the Hyperlow user. So anyway, this frame is going to be extremely interesting to see how it looks when it's put together. I've seen the pictures of it online, but I haven't ever seen it for myself. Also comes with this bag of screws and looks like some cheap TPU printed camera mounts. Now the one thing this frame does not have is built-in lock nuts on the frame itself. These are just cut out carbon fiber, and it uses lock nuts instead of built-in pieces onto the carbon fiber like the original frame does. So here I have the arms installed on the frame, and like I was saying, they all just kind of stack up on top of each other and make enough room inside here to fit your flight board and your ESC. But back here on the end, it has the one screw that goes through the two pieces to hold them together, and then two screws up here that go all the way through all the plates, all 5 of them, and then have lock nuts down the bottom. And these are not going to bend this way at all. There's like no chance. And even bending this way, there's not much of a chance either. No, I'm not feeling any bend at all. Let's see if across the whole frame, even though I don't have it completely assembled, no. There's almost zero bend in this thing, and I'm giving a lot of effort. My thumbs hurt. But up here on the top, it has a top plate up here with these straps here for a battery, their battery straps to go through. Now one thing I've noticed is on several of the frames that these were on the bottom, so it was mounted like this, and they had the antenna coming off the bottom. And you can do that because the piece that goes up here across the front is removable, and you can put it down here, and now you have the antenna holder on the bottom and your battery straps on the bottom. They have a battery bottom mounted frame, although you don't want to switch all these around. Or you can flip it the more traditional way like the pictures are and have this extra piece down here on the bottom along with the battery straps up here on the top to have your top mounted battery, and then your antenna holder is up here instead. The 3D printed camera mounts that are included are made of TPU, and they're actually decent TPU, like they can actually bend a little bit. That's what you want. You don't want it to be super stiff because then it'll just break in a crash, and that would be bad. Also, by having a little bit of give to it, the camera mounts here should take a little bit of the vibrations from the motors and the rest of the frame and hopefully dampen those so that you don't see quite as much shaking in your camera. So here's the frame fully assembled, and the amount of strength that's being transferred out of these arms and these stacked pieces here into this carbon fiber is unbelievable. I mean, when I take it and I try to twist it like this, it doesn't hardly twist at all, which is not what my other frames have been doing. Also, like I showed before, there's no bend this direction. Well, if there is, there's barely any. But I attributed a lot of that to the amount of mass that's in between the top and the bottom plate, and these little spacers up in the front help hold it together. So you have a lot of strength in here. Now these front camera mounts here are 3D printed. They slip right around these spacers. They're a little tight, which is what you want. That way your camera's not sliding up and down during the flight. Also, with the big hole in the bottom and this big opening up here, the camera should have plenty of room to angle and not bump across onto the carbon fiber. Now when you go to build the inside of this, it's going to be pretty tight. In fact, they gave you enough spacers here that you can put the little nylon washer there, and then a board, this spacer, and another board, and another nut up on top, and that is all the room you get. There is some more room up here in the front. Here's where the flight board would be, and here's where the camera. So you have some room here for your VTX and your receiver, but you don't have a lot of room. So if you put your VTX here, you're going to have some kind of extension that runs you back to the back so you can have your antenna hanging off of the back. And then you'll run some zip ties through these holes to help hold the antenna into place. Now the best thing is if you can have an extension, especially if you're racing. That way you have you can take the antenna here and unscrew it and then put on a left-hand antenna if you need to switch from left to right. So anyway, we'll get some measurements off this frame now. If you measure from arm to arm diagonally, it comes in right at 230, just like the description says. Left to right, it comes in about 140. Front to back is 183. The bottom plate's 2 millimeters. The top plate's 2 millimeters. Each piece of the arm is 5 millimeters. The space inside to build your stack is 15 millimeters. The camera spacing is 18.9 millimeters, just enough for a run cam micro. And the hole spacing for the flight board is 30.5 by 30.5. If you're having a 20 millimeter stack, there's no room inside here. So the 30.5 by 30.5 is going to be your only option. This frame does not come with any power distribution board or battery straps, so the weight is solely the frame. And it comes in about 96.3 grams. So this is actually a pretty decent racing frame. It's not going to be an ultralight frame, but then again, ultralights tend to have the arms that break a little easier, so you're giving up a little bit of weight for a lot more strength with this frame. This frame spins 5-inch props just fine, and when they come up here to the middle, they're going to be up a little bit because of the motors, so they'll clear the middle of the frame just fine as well. You just have to be a little bit cognizant of where you mount your battery in relation to where your props are going to spin. Up here in the front, if you run your camera up pretty level, you're going to get a lot of props in the view. You're going to want to make sure that you're angling your camera up pretty good, maybe 30, 40 degrees, something like that, and you'll still get a little bit of prop in the picture, but it'll be down near the bottom, and that's just mostly due to the wide field of view that the Runcam micros have. This is the Puda Vert 230 racing frame. There's also a Puda Vert racer frame that's out there that is almost identical. In fact, when I looked at the pictures, I couldn't tell any difference. But like I said before, at the beginning of this video, this is a clone of the Hyperlow Vert racer. So if you're interested in looking at that, I'll have links to the original frame and links to this clone down in the description. This one comes in about $35, where the original comes in about $65. So if you are looking to support the original designer and like some more of these, please support him. If you're looking for a cheap clone that you can try out, this isn't a bad option. Overall, this frame's pretty nice. Like I said, the original designer did a great job designing this to where it's super, super durable. And I think when this goes to races, I don't think you're going to see many of these arms breaking on the course, just because of how much strength all these carbon fiber pieces pull off of each other. Anyway, if you have any questions about this, leave them down in the comments. I will try to help you out as best I can. And as always, thanks for watching.
Stuck on quads, I've got my